Hey Army! Welcome back to the channel. You won't believe the story I'm about to share with you today. A legendary vocal coach with 20 years of experience who has trained dozens of famous K-pop idols just made a shocking confession. She said, "I learned from Jimin and Jungkook." What? A professional vocal teacher? Learning from her students? How's that possible? What did she see at the Hybe studio that made her cry and completely changed the way she teaches? Stay tuned because this story will give you chills. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any Jikook updates. Okay, so before we dive into the main story, you need to know who Lee Min-young is. Lee Min-young is one of the most respected vocal coaches in the K-pop industry. She's been training singers for over 20 years, from soloists to famous idol group members. Many other vocal trainers have even learned from her. Imagine, with all that experience, with hundreds of students she's trained, suddenly she says, "I learned from Jimin and Jungkook." This isn't lip service, guys. This is a serious statement she made in an exclusive interview last week. And the story begins one morning at the Hybe studio. So here's what happened. A while back, Lee Min-young was invited as a vocal consultant to Hybe studio. She was asked to observe a private training session, and guess what? The ones training were Jimin and Jungkook. She arrived around 9 a.m. But you know what? Jimin and Jungkook had already started training since 8 a.m. Their dedication is no joke, guys. When Lee Min-young entered the observation room, separated by soundproof glass from the main studio, she was immediately mesmerized. They weren't just doing regular vocal scales. No, they were doing it with full awareness of every note, every breath, every resonance. Lee Min-young, who's been in this industry for decades, immediately felt, wait, there's something different about the way they practice. Now, this is what made Lee Min-young speechless. The first thing she noticed was the way Jimin and Jungkook listened to each other. In the world of vocal training, listening skill is super important but often overlooked. Many singers are too focused on their own voice that they forget that singing, especially harmonization, is about dialogue between voices. But Jimin and Jungkook? They're different. Picture this. They stand facing each other, just a few dozen centimeters apart, eyes closed, singing with full concentration. Jungkook adjusts his volume and tone based on what he hears from Jimin. And Jimin does the same. They're like two dancers moving in perfect synchronization, except their medium is sound. Lee Min-young, who has taught hundreds of students throughout her career, admits she rarely sees vocal chemistry this natural. Usually, good harmonization requires repetitive practice with strict guidance from a coach. But Jikook? They have musical telepathy, guys. Okay, so the session continued to vocal range exploration. And this is the part that left Lee Min-young stunned. Jimin, who we know has a distinctive tenor vocal, started trying some challenging high notes. Now, pay attention to this carefully. Jungkook didn't give lengthy instructions. He didn't say, "Oh, Jimin Hyung, try it this way, that way." No, what he did was, he sang the bass note steadily, giving Jimin an anchor, like a stabilizer, to feel safe exploring. When Jimin successfully reached the note he wanted, Jungkook gave him a high five with a big smile. But this is what's even more interesting, guys. When Jimin failed, Jungkook didn't immediately give advice. He let Jimin try it his own way, providing space for exploration and mistakes, only occasionally offering an alternative perspective very gently. Lee Min-young literally fell silent. Why? Because all this time, in her teaching method, she would immediately correct mistakes and provide solutions. But what she witnessed was a form of organic learning that's far deeper. Jungkook gave complete trust in Jimin's ability to find his own vocal path. This created a safe environment to experiment, where mistakes aren't something to be feared, but accepted as part of the creative process. Lee Min-young calls this collaborative exploration, and she realized this approach is far more effective in developing confidence and vocal creativity. Now guys, we're getting to the most epic moment. After almost 2 hours of technical training, Jimin and Jungkook decided to do something spontaneous. No sheet music. No guidance whatsoever. They just played around with melodies. Jungkook started with simple humming. Jimin responded with a different variation, like a musical conversation. They threw ideas back and forth, developed motifs, and built complex harmonic structures, only from pure intuition. And what happened next? Even the sound engineer in the room had Teo record it because it was too beautiful to miss. The harmonization they created impromptu, words can't describe it, guys. There was vulnerability in the way Jimin expressed his notes. An emotional honesty that made every phrase feel personal and intimate. Meanwhile, Jungkook provided a strong but flexible foundation. His powerful yet controlled voice became the perfect canvas for Jimin's expressiveness. They weren't trying to impress anyone. They were just playing, exploring, and enjoying the process. And it's from this absence of pressure to be perfect that something truly magical was born. Lee Minjung sitting in the observation room. Her eyes welled up with tears, guys. As a professional who's been teaching people to sing for 20 years, she realized there's a dimension of vocal artistry that cannot be taught through technique alone. What struck her most profoundly was how Jimin and Jungkook approached their craft with childlike wonder yet professional discipline. They weren't just executing vocal exercises mechanically. Every single note they sang carried intention, emotion, and story. When Jimin hit a particularly challenging phrase, you could see the journey in his expression, the struggle, the breakthrough, the joy. And Jungkook wasn't just a passive observer. He was living that moment with Jimin, feeling every note as if it were his own voice producing it. This level of empathetic connection is something Lee Minjung had read about in music psychology textbooks, but had never witnessed so purely in real life. She also noticed something fascinating about their breathing techniques. Most singers she's worked with treat breathing as a purely mechanical necessity. Inhale, exhale, support the diaphragm. But Jimin and Jungkook? They breathe together. Not in a choreographed way, but organically. Their breath cycles synchronized naturally, creating this invisible thread of connection that made their harmonies feel like one continuous voice rather than two separate entities merging. It's the kind of synchronicity that usually takes professional duos years to develop, yet these two made it look effortless. Lee Minjung later described it in her interview as witnessing two souls communicating through sound. She said that in that moment, she understood why ARMY around the world feel so deeply moved by Jikook's performances. It's not just about hitting the right notes or having good technique, though they certainly have both. It's about the authenticity of their connection, the way they're completely present with each other and with the music. There's no pretense, no performance for the sake of performance. Just two artists who trust each other completely, supporting each other's growth while creating something beautiful together. After the session ended, Lee Minjung had a chance to chat briefly with Jimin and Jungkook. With genuine humility, she expressed how inspired she was by what she just witnessed. And you know what, guys? Jimin and Jungkook, with their typical humility, actually thanked her and said they're still learning every day. Jungkook mentioned that Jimin taught him about the importance of emotional connection in singing. Meanwhile, Jimin acknowledged that Jungkook helped him become more confident with his own vocals. They learn from each other. They lift each other up. And in the process, create something greater than the sum of their individual abilities. Now, Lee Minjung identified several key learnings. First, the importance of creating a safe space in vocal learning. When singers feel safe to fail, they're braver to take artistic risks. Second, the value of peer learning. Sometimes, learning from someone at the same level can be more effective because they understand the same struggles. Third, and this is the most important, music ultimately is about connection. Connection with oneself, with a musical partner, and with the audience. All the techniques in the world won't produce a touching performance if that connection isn't there. Now, Lee Minjung started integrating this learning into her teaching method. She gives more space for her students to explore, encourages them to practice in pairs and develop listening skills, and emphasizes the importance of finding their own voice, not just technically, but also artistically. And the response? Very positive. Many students report that they feel more connected to their vocals and more confident in expressing themselves. Guys, this story spread super fast in the vocal coach and music educator community in Korea. Many were inspired to reflect on their approach. There's interesting discussion about how the music industry, which is often too focused on technical perfection and commercial viability, sometimes forgets the essence of art itself, authentic expression, and human connection. Lee Minyoung's statement also received a warm response from ARMY worldwide. Many felt validated about what they've been feeling all along when listening to Jimin and Jungkook perform together. There's a magic that can't be explained in words. Chemistry that feels genuine and touching. Now they know, even a professional with decades of experience feels the same way. Guys, what makes this story even more meaningful is, it's a reminder that learning is a process that never ends. No matter how expert or experienced someone is, even a teacher can and should keep learning. And sometimes, the most valuable lessons come from the most unexpected places. From two young singers who with humility and full of passion continue to hone their craft. Not to prove anything to the world, but because they genuinely love what they do. This is what makes Jimin and Jungkook special, guys. It's not just about their vocal techniques. It's about their heart, their dedication, and the way they lift each other up. So, what do you think about this story? Have you ever noticed Jikook's incredible vocal chemistry? Share your thoughts in the comments section. And if you liked this video, don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. Share this video with fellow ARMY. There's lots of other interesting content about BTS and Jikook on this channel, so make sure to check them out. Thank you so much for watching till the end. I'll see you in the next video. Borahi!